Member for West Vancouver, Capilano.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The purpose of the briefing note, Mr. Speaker, was, and I quote, to provide information on statistics of children who died that will be posted on the ministry's website, end quote. For the 6-month period covered by this briefing note, the only information that was made public is that 3 children in care died accidental deaths. But that's not what happened, Mr. Speaker. The internal briefing note says 2 of those children in care actually died from an opioid overdose. We're in an opioid crisis. This information needs to be given to the public. So can the Premier explain why the tragic overdose deaths of children in care are still only being reported as accidental?
Premier.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, and I thank the member for her question. She will know that numerous steps are taken when children are in care to ensure that they're in the best possible place, to ensure that they're getting the services that they need, whether it be mental health services, whether it be services to deal with other trauma that has led them to become wards of the Crown. And we continue to work tirelessly with healthcare professionals to ensure that we're doing the best possible care we can. And we've also brought forward a number of initiatives in the past 4 years to deal with children as they come out of care, as they age out. Because as we all know, those of us who have children, when our children reach age 18, they're still our children. And when they're 24, 25, 26, they still face challenges in their personal lives and in the community. That is exactly the same. In fact, it's exacerbated if you are a child in care coming into the broader population. So we've made it our business on this side of the House to ensure that we're putting in place the building blocks of stability coming out of care, and we'll also continue to work with the coroner, we'll continue to work with the independent advocate and others in this House to ensure that as much information that can be released is released. But this is a challenge, and I look to the member for Surrey South because she knows it full well, and when we were on that side of the House, wanted the same level of information. And we expected that this would be a seamless and easy process, and we all know that it's not. I will continue to advocate, as well as the Minister, to ensure that all the information possible does get out to the public. But again, because this has been such a powerful day, with statements by members, with the sentiments at the beginning of the House, I want to just add that this is a golden opportunity for all of us to redouble our efforts to collectively focus on how we can be more transparent, how we can ensure that the information is made available to help destigmatize the challenges that some members are speaking about directly from their personal experience and what we know to be the case in families in this place and, of course, families in our constituencies.
Member for West Vancouver, Capilano, supplemental.
Thank you to the Premier for that answer, Mr. Speaker. But this is about information and critical information getting to the public so decision-making can be made. Once again, just like COVID hospitalizations, there's one set of internal numbers and a different set which is provided to the public. And we only know about this because of multiple FOIs, yet blocking FOI requests seems to be a higher priority to this government than reintroducing an improved Bill 22 on youth stabilization care. So this is a Premier who called a snap election during a pandemic to talk about protecting children, yet a year later there's been zero legislation still brought to this House despite that promise. So why is the Premier focused on hiding information instead of protecting children?
Premier.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. And again, I'm encouraged by the enthusiasm from the official opposition. And when the bill does come forward, it's being developed by the Minister at this time. And I'm sure that there's going to be dialogue with the critic to make sure that we're getting all of the points that she's raised here today. But the coroner, in her work, records deaths as natural, accidental, homicide, suicide, undetermined. There is no overdose for children category, and we'll talk to the coroner about this now that it's been brought to my attention here in the House, and we'll see what we can do about making changes there. I'll also remind people that Section 70 of the Act protects the privacy rights of children while they're in care, and I spoke just the other day, 2 weeks ago in Chilliwack, to a parent, a father, whose child died in care back in 2015, 2016. And the issue that he had was that his child could not be named. He knew who his child was, of course, but his child could not be named in the interest of protecting privacy, even though he had already passed away. These are challenging issues that make no sense to people when they're grieving. It makes no sense to people who are just perhaps dialing in today to hear the discussion that we're having. But we have to work through those issues. We have to make sure that we're protecting those important elements that we all know are critical, but we also have to make sure we can break down these barriers to full and open transparency. And I'm glad that the member and the Leader of the Official Opposition is going to be with us as we move forward.